Hello everybody, welcome to Module 2, Module 3 Excel example. In this Excel example, we have data on students who took the final exam of, let's say, Business Analytics 1 or 2 at 4 different universities in Chicago: UIC, Northwestern, DePaul, and Loyola. And so we want to do some calculation for these universities. So we have 4 columns, A and B and C and D, and we have 50 rows. Yes, rows 2 to 51. The first row, as usual, is the title row. So let's say the final examples out of 100, and we have data on them. And we want to, for example, calculate the mean for Northwestern, which is column B. We want to, for example, calculate mean. So for that, all we gotta do is to just type equals average, double click on this, and then let's say B column B, and we get that 79.08. Next one that we want to try is the median for the exam at Northwestern. So all you gotta do is to type, rather than average, this time median. Yes. As soon as you type ME, Excel offers this median. So again, Northwestern is column B, so it's gonna be B column B, and that's the median, 78.55. Now we have minimum and maximum. For minimum, we are going to type equals min b colon b and hit enter. 70.8, that's the minimum score that we have. What's the maximum score? So we type equals max and then b colon b, and the maximum is 86.4. Next question is standard deviation. Standard deviation, the key line for that, the keyword for that is STD, EV. Yes, and then open the parentheses, and then just again as always B colon B, and that's it. You get 3.657. Next one is range. As you remember, range is just maximum minus minimum. So you can just click on, put equal sign and then click on the maximum, G5, and then minus cell G4. So equals G5 minus G4 and hit enter. The range is 15.6. It means that the distance between the maximum score and minimum score. Next 2 questions are about correlation. So correlation between UIC and Northwestern equals, let's say, so again, these questions are just for practice. They don't mean like anything. But we have, let's say, Corel with keyword Corel. We can do that. But so Corel and open the parentheses. Now, for this, we have to mention 2 different columns. One of them is like, let's say, Northwestern. Another one is UIC. So I'm going to say A colon A, that's UIC, and Northwestern in B. So it's going to be B colon B. The correlation is negative 0.01. That's almost 0. It means that they're irrelevant to each other. Next one is correlation between UIC and DePaul. That's exactly like when what we did just above. So equals Corel uh, UIC is so we're gonna say A colon A, and then the DePaul is column C. So we're gonna say C column C and hit enter. Negative 0.16. Great. Okay. With that being said, let's move to the next topic. Draw a histogram of Northwestern with bin size 2 and include data labels. For histograms, select your data. So for Northwestern, we're going to select this. Now that we selected our data, and then click on insert and then click on insert and histogram. So inserts is right here, and then histogram. So all the charts are right here. Histogram is the very first one, yes. I'm sorry, histogram is, this is a bar chart. It's right in the middle, yes. This is the right in the middle, and we have different histograms. The first one is the best one. Here we go. This is the histogram for. So just select your data and then just make the histogram. Now, we want to do some specifications. What are those specifications? Right click on chart, add data labels. So we want data labels. Yes, we want to see how many data is in like each column. So here, now that we made the histogram, we want to do some specification. Yes, for example, maybe we want to change the chart title. We double click on the chart title and then we just simply replace it with what we want to write. Like let's say Western final exam or just histogram. Another thing that you might want to do is, for example, add data labels. So to add data labels, as I have it here, right click on the chart. So don't right click on one special column, just on the chart, right click. And remember this, on Mac, right click is Control and click. So on Mac, right click is Control, hold the Control, and then click. So add data labels. That's it. Next one, for example, we want to do adjust the bin size. Now, adjusting the bin size is different in, let's say, PC versus Mac. On PC, it's a little bit easier. You just double click on this, like the intervals given to you, and then bin width, change it to whatever you want. So rather than 3, we want to have 2, and just hit enter. and boom, automatically it does it for you. So that's on Excel, on PC, and then we can just move it a little bit to south of our questions, so we don't want to interfere this with the other things. Okay, and then on Mac, how do we do that? So we draw the histogram one more time. After drawing the histogram and everything, you just so you select your data, you click on insert, you click on the histogram, you do the histogram, and then you wanna adjust the bin size. So you just follow the step. Right click on charts. Yes, right click on chart, and then there is an option called format data series. Just click on format data series, and after that, a vertical box like this opens up on the right. When it's on the third item, which is something like charts, then there is some option about bins, and then you can, for example, write there in options about bins. So you can just adjust the bin width, click on it, and then you can just write whatever you want. For example, two. Yes. So how do we do it again? We right click on chart, we click on format data series, we click on bins, and we select, for example, bin width, and after selecting bin width, you just specify the uh, bin width that you are interested in. Okay, now let's switch gears to something like called t-test. Yes, before that, remember this: these 50 students are not the population of students at, let's say, UIC or Northwestern or DePaul or Loyola. The population of the population of these universities are more than 10,000 students. Yes, sometimes like DePaul 20,000. Now we have taken a random sample and we have seen this. So now we want to see, for example, what's the mean for UIC? What's the mean for Northwestern? So let's do that, calculate that. So we do equals average, average, and then, for example, if you're doing UIC, it's going to be column A. Sorry about this. So A, column A, and that's it, yes. Close the parentheses, we get 81.6. Now, how about the mean of sample variance for example, next university, which is Northwestern? So we're gonna do exactly the same thing. We're gonna here type equals average, and then Northwestern's column B. So I'm gonna just type B column B and close the parentheses and hit enter. 79.08. So we got, but these are the averages for two samples. Now, the important question is that if these two answers are just too similar to each other, that means means of the populations are not different, or no, the means of, for example, These two universities are really different, and it's something systematic. Like population averages are different as well or not. So for that, we're gonna do the t-test. Yes, the t-test, the way it works is this. You just go here, insert your formula. So we're gonna type equals t-test, and then we need four arguments. Yes, array 1, array 2, tails and type. Array 1 is gonna be a colon a, which is, let's say, UIC. Then column B is second university in the list, which is Northwestern. So it's gonna be B colon B. And then remember this, always 2 and 2. Sorry, 2 and 2. And we get 4.29 E negative 5, which means it's less than 0.05. So conclusion is that since it's less than 0.05, we are going to say this. Since p-value is less than 0.05, since p-value is less than 0.05, then we're going to say we reject H0. That's conclusion. What's the interpretation? Interpretation is that we conclude that means of two populations are statistically different. Means of two populations are statistically different. So whenever you see this E sign, it means it's less than 0.05. And then you can always copy and paste this. If means of two populations are if p-value is less than 0.05, you can just always type this. You don't have to even do anything else. Just whenever p-value is less than 0.05, just write this. Since p-value is less than 0.05, we reject H0. Means of two populations are statistically different. Now let's talk about UIC versus DePaul. Let's take a look at again the averages. So average for UIC equals average, and then UIC was A. So A column A, hit enter. Yes. Then mean of average of sample at DePaul. How about that? That one is again easy. So mean of sample DePaul. All you gotta do is to type equals average, and then after that you call it C, so C column C, and boom, you got it. So mean of sample at UIC was 81.6, mean of sample at DePaul is 83.4. So almost 2 points difference. Now we want to check if the populations at DePaul and UIC have done differently or not. So we're going to use the t-test one more time. Now for the t-test, we're going to just type equals t-test and then select our data. So UIC versus DePaul. 2 and 2. And here we go. We get this one. Since p-value, so again, you can just type this. Just all you gotta do is this. Conclusion and interpretation. Since p-value is less than 0.05, we reject H0. Means of two populations are statistically different. Now, if means of two populations are, if p-value is then not less than 0.05, what's gonna happen? So I'm gonna just write in parentheses. If p-value is greater than 0.05, just type this for conclusion. Conclusion is that since p-value is greater than 0.05, we retain H0. So the only difference is that we rather than reject, we retain it. It means somehow accept it, yes. We retain H0. And then interpretation, means of two populations are not statistically different. Means of two populations are not statistically different. That's true when the p-value is greater than 0.05. So that's the conclusion, and this is interpretation, yes. Okay. So you do the t-test, you select two different columns, and then comma 2, you get the p-value. If p-value is less than 0.05, you always say this. Since p-value is less than 0.05, we reject H0, and the interpretation would be this. Means of two populations are statistically different. What if, again, for example, we want to compare the mean of two populations, and then we do the t-test and we get p-value greater than 0.05. We just type, we retain H0. Means of two populations are not statistically different. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening, and enjoy your time.